Jay Patterson, juror number 1.
Stephanie Lois, juror number 2.
Solangel Alvarez, juror number 3.
Maria Lorenzo, juror number 4.
Josue Mendoza, juror number 5.
Aslir Esteves, juror number 6.
Leslie Rodriguez, witness, Dakota Ross.
Damien Serrano, witness, Morgan Channing.
Lorenzo Santiago, witness, Detective Reese Willingham.
Nicole Lemo, witness, Casey Ross.
Samuel Castillo, witness, Bailey Cohen.
Brittany Gonzalez, defendant, Tyler Banks.
Leah Gonzalez, State Attorney.
Victoria Hernandez, State Attorney.
Darnell Hernandez, State Attorney.
Victoria Rojas, Defense Attorney.
Corey Rodriguez, Defense Attorney.
Diana Carrera, Defense Attorney.
Lorena Hermelo, Madam Clerk.
Alex Dalis, Bailiff.
Joel Jacoby, Team Sponsor.
Barbara Aguilar, coach, and we are Miami Springs Middle School.
State, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, you're opening.
May I approach the jury?
Yes, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my name is Leah Gonzalez, along with my co-counsel Victoria Hernandez and Darnell Hernandez. We represent the state of Florida on behalf of the victim, Dakota Ross. We want to thank you for exercising your civic duty by serving on a jury. We know that serving takes you away from your jobs and family, but without your service, due process and the justice system would not properly function. So again, we thank you. In our lifetime, we have all been a victim of credit card fraud. Whether it be identity theft or an unauthorized expenditure from our bank account, it is a horrible feeling. And the amount of time and effort it takes to remedy the situation is a mental and financial burden. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the facts of this case are simple. From June 1st, 2017 through August 1st, 2017, the defendant, Tyler Banks, unlawfully and knowingly stole Ms. Dakota Ross's debit card with the intent to withdraw money from numerous ATM machines throughout Palmville, Florida, for her own personal gain. Evidence will show that Ms. Banks had regular accessibility to Ms. Ross's debit card, and that she had even used the debit card before to purchase groceries and therefore knew the PIN number. Testimony from Ms. Banks and her daughter will reveal a sense of entitlement brewing in the defendant, comments being made by the defendant towards the victim expressing a direct vindictiveness and jealous behavior. Testimony of the bank manager and Detective Reese Willingham will show how one of the photographs of the assailant that was taken while money was being unlawfully withdrawn from Dakota Ross's bank account closely resembles Tyler Banks. You will also see bank statements of money being continuously withdrawn without authorization. At the end of this trial, when all of the evidence and testimony has been presented, my colleague is going to come before you to find the defendant, Tyler Banks, guilty of unlawful possession of a stolen credit card, theft and grand theft beyond a reasonable doubt. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we know that Tyler Banks is guilty of this crime, and by the end of the trial, so will you. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Defense, you're opening.
Your Honor, permission to approach the jury box?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Victoria Rojas, along with my co-counsel, Corey Rodriguez and Diana Carrera. We represent the defendant, Tyler Banks. From 2017 through August 1st, 2017, something happened. Something really bad happened. Dakota Ross, the victim in this case, had her debit card stolen and money withdrew from her account from ATMs all over Palmville. Having your credit or even debit card or, your identity stolen is not a pleasant experience, an experience that none of us wish upon each other. This afternoon, you are going to hear testimony from the plaintiffs that the defendant, Tyler Banks, intentionally stole the debit card out of the purse of the plaintiff and withdrew money in the amount of $3,200 from her account from a local ATM machine. Money that was stolen and used to purchase a guitar. A theory based on pure assumptions and unfounded allegations. The state in this case had the burden of proving the element of this case beyond a reasonable doubt that Tyler Banks had lawfully possession of a stolen debit card and committed theft and grand theft by withdrawing money from an unauthorized bank account for her personal gains. Serious accusations are being made that must be backed up with hard actual facts. The state in this trial must prove the defendant's guilt to such a degree that no reasonable doubt could exist in the mind of a rational, reasonable person. And you're going to hear a testimony from Casey Ross, the daughter of the victim, who is going to tell you that Miss Tyler Banks was a close friend of the family, a lifetime companion, and would never steal from them. You are also going to hear a testimony from Bailey Coy, the elderly neighbor who employed Miss Banks during the summer, helping her earn enough money to buy an electric guitar, and the defendant herself, Tyler Banks, waiving her Fifth Amendment, who will testify that she had limited access to the plaintiff's debit card, but proudly earned enough money to purchase an electric guitar herself. In today's world, circumstantial evidence and unfounded allegations do not prove guilty. The day of the Salem witch hunts and lack of due process are no longer the standards. People are not guilty based on a maybe or even a possibility. All we ask that you keep an open mind, reserve all judgment until all evidence has been heard. Let common sense be your guide. A young teenager's future rests in your decisions. I thank you for your time and consideration, and we'll see you again at the end of the trial.
Thank you, counsel. State, you may call your first witness.
Your Honor, the state would like to call Dakota Ross to the stand.
Dakota Ross.
May I approach the podium?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, Ms.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name for the record.
Dakota Ross,
How old are you, Miss Ross?
40 years old.
And where do you live?
2751 Wynwood Drive in Palmville, Florida.
Are you employed?
Yes, as a dental hygienist.
Do you have a spouse?
No, he died 4 years ago.
Any children?
Yes, a 17-year-old, Casey. She's the love of my life.
And how is Casey handling her father's death?
Not well. She's having some behavioral issues.
Like what?
You know, stealing from my purse and other normal teenage things.
And how are you and Casey doing financially?
We're doing well. My parents and my spouse's death has left us quite a bit of money.
Well, why does she steal from you if you guys seem financially secure?
She's developed a sense of entitlement, and that's why she stole it from me in the past.
And what's the average amount of money she's stolen from you?
Like $20.
Mr. Ross, would Casey ever take $3,200 from you and spend it?
Never.
Tell me about Tyler Banks.
Tyler Banks is Casey's best friend.
And why is Casey testifying for Tyler?
Casey's testifying for Tyler because that's her best friend.
Objection, call for speculation. Dakota does not exactly know the reason why Casey is testifying for her best friend.
Sustained.
Miss Ross, you trust Tyler?
No,
Why?
because when I first got my Mercedes and Tyler saw it, she said, "Must be nice to have money. Maybe you could give me some."
Objection, hearsay. The testimony is used to use the matter asserted.
Your Honor, this is first-hand knowledge of a statement made directly to Miss Ross.
Overruled.
Miss Ross, tell me about the guitar that Tyler wanted.
Objection, leading question.
Overruled again.
Tyler asked me to loan her $3,000 for an electric guitar she wanted.
And what did you say to Tyler about the guitar?
I told her no. If I wouldn't even give Casey that kind of money, why would I give it to Tyler?
And how did she react to your comment?
She didn't take it well. She got angry and told me that she would find another way to get the money.
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Miss Ross, do you have a debit card?
Yes.
And do you have a PIN number on that card?
Yes.
Who knows your PIN number besides yourself?
My daughter, Casey, my housekeeper, Rosalind Adler, and Tyler, because she's always with Casey.
And how long did Rosaline Alger work for you?
About 8 years.
And did you notice any money missing from your account during this time?
No.
Ms. Ross, please tell me about your accident in June of 2017.
I fell down the stairs and I broke a vertebrae in my back.
And did you see a doctor?
Yes, I was transferred to the Palmville Hospital where I stayed for 2 weeks.
Anywhere else?
Yeah, afterwards I went to a rehabilitation center and stayed there for 3 weeks.
And who took care of Casey while you were hospitalized?
I had a couple of friends and Rosalind checking on her.
And when were you released from rehab and returned home?
I returned home on August 1st, 2017.
And was Rosaline at your house to help you upon your return?
No, she had to go to England.
When did you find out about the missing account money?
I found out on August 3rd, 2017 when I went to the grocery store and my card was rejected. I had plenty of money in it before I was hospitalized.
Upon finding out you were missing money, what did you do?
I went to the bank and spoke with the bank manager, Morgan Channing.
What next?
We reviewed my bank statements and found out that money had been withdrawn from ATMs all over Palmville.
Do you have any dates during which these withdrawals happened?
June 18th and July 31st.
And what was the total amount withdrawn?
$3,200. I knew it was Tyler.
Objection, call for speculation. She is making a conclusion that is on how much money was taken out of her account.
I sustain that.
And Ms. Ross, did you ever contact the police?
Yes, I spoke with Detective Reese Willingham.
And did Detective Reese talk to you about the status of the investigation?
Yes, he showed me a picture of somebody withdrawing the money from an ATM, and the hoodie they were wearing was exactly like Tyler's.
Objection, call for speculation. Ms. Ross is making a conclusion that the jury should decide on.
Sustained.
Ms. Ross, did Tyler ever buy that guitar?
Yes, Casey told me.
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained again.
Since Tyler had access to your account, is it possible that she was the one who took the money?
Yes, I knew it was Tyler. It can't be a coincidence that the same amount you needed for a guitar was the amount withdrawn.
Objection, call for speculation.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Sustained. Thank you. Defense, cross, please.
Your Honor, permission to approach the podium.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Ross, you testified that your own daughter, Casey, has taken things out of your purse in the past, correct?
Yes.
Does that include money?
Yes.
Money without your permission?
Yes.
You testified that you believe your own daughter, Casey, had a sense of entitlement, correct?
Yes, that's what I said. That's why she's taken money from me in the past.
And isn't it true that you gave Casey access to your debit card?
Yes, sometimes.
Isn't it true that Casey knew the PIN number to your debit card?
Yes.
In fact, didn't you give Casey your debit card to purchase items from the grocery store?
Yes, I did.
Is it possible that your own daughter, Casey, dressed like Tyler, might have taken the debit card and withdrew money from your account?
No. I knew it was Tyler.
Miss Ross, your daughter had access to your card and PIN number. Obviously, Casey had the rights to take money from your account.
Objection, Your Honor. Argumentative. Counsel is badgering the witness.
Sustained.
Miss Ross, didn't you testify that your housekeeper, Rosaline, had access to your debit card?
Yes.
Isn't it correct that she knew the PIN number?
Yes.
Is it possible that your housekeeper, Rosaline, could have taken the debit card and withdrew money from your account? Wasn't Rosaline loyal to you?
Yes, she was.
And on August 1st, 2017, when you returned home from the rehabilitation center, was Rosaline still at your house?
No.
And isn't it correct that when she left, she went back to England to take care of her sick family members?
Yes.
Don't you find that just a bit suspicious that she just got up and left?
No. Things happen, and Rosalind had to take care of her family just like she did to mine.
Did Detective Willingham show you a picture of a person wearing a hoodie at an ATM machine?
Yes, the hoodie looked like Tyler's.
A hoodie. So did you recognize a face in the photo?
No.
So you aren't certain or sure that it was Tyler Banks in that picture based on a hoodie?
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered.
Sustained.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. You may be seated. Mr. Bailiff? Thank you. State, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, State would like to call Morgan Channing to the stand.
Morgan
Permission
Channing.
to approach.
Yes.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear.
Please state your name for the record.
Morgan Channing?
Mr. Channing, are you currently employed?
Yes.
Where?
I'm the National Bank Manager. I'm the Palmville National Bank Manager.
How long have you been employed?
I've been employed for 10 years, but I've been the bank manager for 5 years.
And what qualifies you to be a branch manager?
My experience working at the bank, and I got a degree in finance from Palmetto University.
What are some of your responsibilities as a bank manager?
I oversee all bank operations, customer service, commercial lending, and all state regulations.
And who oversees fraud?
Objection, ambiguous question, too general of a question to form a response.
Sustained.
Who is in charge of possible fraud on the bank?
Me, lately credit card fraud has been increasing.
Is Dakota Ross a client of the bank?
Yes, since I became involved with their fraud case.
Fraud case?
Yes, someone withdrawn money from her account with her permission.
Can you tell me about Dakota as a client?
She is great. She never had any overdraft or late payments on any loan.
When did Dakota Ross come see you about her rejected debit card transaction?
On or about August 2nd, 2017.
Has she ever had a credit card transaction denied?
No.
Did you review the account for possible fraud?
Yes, and when I reviewed the account, I noticed several unusual withdrawals when she was in the hospital and in rehab.
And how many withdrawals were made?
Objection, need specific dates to form a per-op response.
Sustained, counsel.
How many withdrawals were made during the time Ms. Ross was hospitalized and in rehab?
8 for small amounts. I confirmed with Ms. Ross that the withdrawals prior to her hospitalization were authorized.
During the time Ms. Ross was hospitalized, were all the withdrawals from the same ATM?
No, 6 from ATM 4, 1 from ATM 3, and 1 from the main branch.
Do your ATM machines have video cameras?
No, only the main branch ATM.
Is that the branch you got the suspect's picture from?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm showing defendant's counsel has been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit A. Permission to approach counsel?
Yes. Thank you, counsel.
Permission to approach witness?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Channing, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
How do you recognize this document?
It's the picture from the main branch ATM.
Can you tell us how these documents are saved?
I keep them on the bank's computer for the bank's best practices.
And can you tell us who oversees the pictures from the ATM?
Me, I'm the custodian of these records.
Your Honor, the State wishes to introduce into evidence what has been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit A into evidence.
Objection, lack of foundation.
Overruled.
Mr. Channing, can you tell the court what you see in this picture?
I see someone over. Someone. Word.
Do you see a black hoodie sweatshirt?
Yes.
What happened when you show Ms. Ross the ATM picture?
She yelled out that looks like Tyler Banks.
Objection, hearsay.
Your Honor, excited utterance and exception to hearsay.
Overruled.
Continue, Mr. Morgan. What happened next?
She told me that's the same exact black sweatshirt that Tyler Banks wore.
Your Honor, I'm showing defendant's counsel has been marked for identification purposes as Exhibit B. Permission to approach counsel?
Yes, ma'am.
Permission to approach witness?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Channing, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
How do you recognize this document?
It's the bank statement that we gave to Dakota Ross.
Is this the standard bank statement that you give all clients of the Palmville National Bank?
Yes.
And who oversees the bank statements being drawn?
The bank under my supervision.
Your Honor, at this time, the state wishes to put Exhibit B into evidence for identification purposes.
Any objection, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
And now it's marked as Exhibit State's Exhibit B.
What month is this bank statement reflected? collecting?
June 2015.
From this statement, can you tell me how much money was withdrawn from the various ATMs across Palmville?
Yes, about $3,200.
What other questions did you ask Ms. Ross?
I asked her if anyone else had access to her credit card or PIN number, and she told me that her daughter Casey and her housekeeper Rosalind had access, and maybe Tyler Banks.
After you completed your fraud investigations, what did you tell Ms. Ross to do?
I advised her to file a police report.
And did anyone from the Palmville department ever contact you?
Yes, the detective Reese Willingham. I gave him all the information.
Is this type of fraud common?
Yes, it happens all the time.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Defense cross.
Your Honor, may I approach the podium?
Yes, you may.
Is debit card fraud a big problem in today's society?
Yes.
As manager, tell us how someone can commit debit card fraud.
They steal the debit card physically and use it on via ATM machine.
You testified that money was illegally taken from ATM machines all over Palmville, correct?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor. Ambiguous question. Counsel needs to nail down the question to be able to form a proper response.
Sustained.
You testified that Mrs. Ross had money illegally taken from ATM machines all over Palmville, correct?
Yes.
And only the main branch ATM had a camera on, correct? I am going to show you what has been marked for identification purposes and introduced as evidence as State Exhibit A. Permission to approach the witness.
Yes.
Do you recognize this photo?
Yes.
Do you recognize the person in the photo?
No.
Can you see the person's face in the photo?
No, it's not clear enough.
Do you think that this person may be Tyler Banks?
I don't know who it is.
Thank you. Isn't it true that you interviewed Mrs. Dakotas about this stuff?
Yes.
And you asked her if anyone else could have any position of the debit card, correct?
Yes.
She told you that her daughter and the housekeeper also had possession of the debit card, correct?
Yes, that's what she told me.
And the access to the PIN number, correct?
Yes.
In your professional opinion, is it possible that Casey Ross or Rosalind Alder could have taken and used the card?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation. Mr. Chaney is making a legal conclusion.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes. Anyone could have access to the cover card and use it.
And at the ATM, there's no way to check a person's identification before using the card, correct?
Correct. We don't have resources like
No
that.
further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Sir, thank you for your time. You may be seated. Mr. Bailiff. State, any more witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, the state would like to call Reese Willingham to the stand.
Mr. Willingham.
Your Honor, permission to approach the podium.
Yes, sir. Detective.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Your full name for the record.
My name is Detective Reese Willingham,
And where are you currently employed?
Palmville Police Department.
How long have you been employed by the Palmville Police
30,
Department?
the last 10 is a detective.
Do you specialize in any area of crime?
Yes, fraud.
As a fraud detective, what is your main job?
I specialize in credit card and debit card, as well as other bank fraud related cases.
And as a fraud detective, how many trials have you testified in?
30,
How many as a fraud detective?
at least 10.
Would you be considered an expert in the field of fraud?
The Palmville Police Department does.
Your Honor, I'm showing defendant's counsel what has been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit C.
Thank you, counsel.
Your Honor, permission to approach the witness.
Absolutely.
Do you recognize this document?
Yes, it's a Palmville Police Department report.
And who wrote this report?
I did with regards to this case after my interview with Dakota Ross.
At this time, the state wishes to introduce into evidence what has been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit C.
Objection. Lack of foundation.
Overruled.
Detective Whittingham, is there a general rule of thumb that you rely on when investigating a bank fraud case?
Yes, when I investigate these cases, the credit card and debit card and bank fraud cases, most cases are done by close friends of the family or other family members.
And how did you become involved in this matter?
On August 5th, 2017, after Dakota Ross called me.
Tell me about the theft.
Dakota Ross called me and informed me that a girl by the name of Tyler Banks illegally withdrew money from her bank account.
And she informed you that she had $3,200 illegally withdrawn from her bank account, correct?
Objection. Leading question.
Sustained.
I will rephrase, Your Honor. How much money was illegally withdrawn from her account?
$3,200.
Detective Whittingham, did you talk to the bank manager, Morgan Cheney?
Yes.
And how much money did he inform you was stolen?
He confirmed that the $3,200 were missing.
What about the ATM photograph?
I also requested for an ATM photograph.
Detective Whittingham, I'm now going to show you what's been marked and introduced into evidence as State's Exhibit A. Your Honor, permission to proceed witness.
Absolutely.
Please tell me what this is.
It is a photograph from the main branch ATM.
I see. And who is the person in this photograph?
I can't clearly identify the face, but I can confirm that the hooded sweatshirt is Tyler Banks.
Did you interview Casey Ross?
Yes.
And what did she tell you about Tyler Banks?
Said Tyler Banks wanted a loan to buy a $3,200 electric guitar, and Dakota Ross said no.
And did Tyler Banks ever buy that new guitar?
Yes, she did.
What else can you tell us about Tyler Banks?
Tyler Banks.
Where did she spend most of her time?
With Casey.
At the Ross residence,
At the
correct?
Ross residence, yes.
And did Tyler ever see the debit card or know its PIN?
Yes.
So Tyler had once used the debit card and knew its PIN number?
Yes. She had access and knowledge of the PIN number.
In your professional opinion, who could have done this crime?
Objection. Calls for speculation. Counsel is making a legal determination that is up to the jury.
With all due respect, Your Honor, Detective Reese, as a detective, part of his job is making determinations so people can be arrested and charged for crimes.
Overruled. Continue witness.
Okay.
In your professional opinion, who could have done this crime?
Tyler Banks.
And why is that?
Because, again, she had easy access to the credit card and knowledge of the PIN number when Dakota Ross was hospitalized.
Did she have a motive?
Yes. She had hatred towards Dakota Ross and wanting to buy a new electric guitar.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Defense Cross.
Your Honor, permission to approach the podium?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you interview the housekeeper, Rosalie?
No.
Isn't it true that she had access to Miss Ross' debit cards?
Yes.
Is it possible that she could have taken the card and withdrew the money?
I suppose it is.
Where is she now?
In England.
Doesn't it sound suspicious that the day Dakota Ross returns home, she relocates to England for good?
I suppose it does, but she had to go take care of some family.
Doesn't that raise doubt to Tyler's guilt?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation. It is not up to Detective Willingham to make the decision if the defendant is guilty. It is up to the jury.
Overruled.
Let me ask that question again. Doesn't that raise doubt to Tyler's guilt?
I suppose it can.
You said in your statement that Dakota was on painkillers. Doesn't painkillers influence the way you think?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation. Detective Willingham is a detective, not a doctor.
Sustained.
Isn't it possible that Dakota Ross's train of thoughts were incoherent due to the drugs in her system?
Yes, but she seemed coherent when I interviewed her.
Is it possible that Dakota Ross wrongfully accused Tyler Banks of the crime?
Maybe.
Isn't it true that Palmville National Bank had minimum security procedures to prevent this type of thing from happening?
Yes, her prevention methods were not modern.
Do the ATMs located in Palmville's banks
cameras on them?
No, just the one in the main branch.
Did you get a picture of the mystery person who made the draws with Dakota's card?
Yes, but we can't see the face.
Can you please tell the court who was the person in that photo?
No, I can't identify the suspect.
Was it Tyler Banks?
Maybe.
So you're not sure as to who the person in this photo is? Is there reasonable doubt that Tyler Banks is not guilty?
I suppose that there is.
You testify that the person in the picture was wearing a hoodie.
Yes.
How many of the residents in Palmville do you think own hoodies? Maybe 1, 2, a lot?
A lot of them probably own a hoodie.
So, isn't it true that Casey bought matching hoodies for her and Tyler?
Yes.
Isn't it possible that Casey could have stolen the money using the hoodie that she and Tyler owned?
Maybe.
Doesn't that bring reasonable doubt to the situation?
Objection, Your Honor. Cost articulation. It is not up to Detective Willingham to decide if the defendant is guilty or not. It is up to the jury.
Overruled. You may answer this confession.
Isn't it true that Casey had access to the card and the PIN number?
Yes, she did.
Isn't it possible that Casey took the card and used it?
I suppose that it is.
Did Tyler Banks buy that $3,000 guitar?
Yes, she bought the guitar.
And isn't it true that she told you that she worked over the summer for that money?
Yes, she did.
Didn't you interview Bailey Cohen?
Yes, we did.
Didn't Bailey Cohen testify that he gave Tyler a job over the summer?
That is correct.
Isn't it possible that Tyler earned enough money for that guitar?
Yes.
Detective William, do you have any substantial proof that Tyler took the money from the ATM?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Detective, you're dismissed. Mr. Bailiff. State any further witnesses.
No, Your Honor.
You rest.
Yes.
Defense, it's your case. Call your first witness, please.
Your Honor, we would like to call up Casey Ross to the stand.
Casey Ross.
Your Honor, permission to approach the podium?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, Ms. Ross. Speak loud.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name for the record.
Casey Ross,
Miss Ross, how old are you?
17 years old,
And where do you currently reside?
with my mother Dakota Ross at 2751 Winwood Drive, Palmville, Florida.
Are you still in high school, Miss Ross?
Yes, I can't wait to graduate and be Palmville.
And why is that?
Because ever since my father died, I've been lonely and depressed.
And can you tell me who Tyler Banks is?
She is my best friend in the whole world. We've been best friends since 3rd grade. She's been the one to help me with my depression.
And do you spend a lot of time with Tyler?
We are inseparable. She spends a lot of time at my house because she does not get along with her parents, and neither do I with my mother.
And why don't you get along with your mother?
All she cares about is her precious money, and all she wants to do is spend it on her friends and herself.
Have you ever asked your mother to borrow money?
Yes, on June 1st, 2017, I asked my mother if I can borrow $3,000 to give to Tyler so she can buy an electric guitar.
And would you consider that a lot of money to ask your mother?
Maybe. See, Tyler had a band on verge of making it big, and all she needed was a special sound.
And did your mother ever give you that money for Tyler?
No, she made it certain she would not give me that amount of money for Tyler. All she cares about is herself.
Was there a period of time where your mother was hospitalized?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading question.
Overruled.
Yes, on June 17, 2017, my mother fell down the stairs and broke the vertebrae in her back. She was hospitalized. She was sent to the hospital and was sent to rehabilitation for 5 weeks.
When your mother was in the hospital, who watched over you?
My housekeeper, Rosie, she did the shopping and took care of things on the house.
Did Rosalie have access to your mother's debit card?
Yes, she used a PIN number to make purchases.
Do you know what Rosalie used to purchase with your mother's debit card?
I guess food and everything else she needed.
So you aren't exactly sure what Rosalie used the debit card for?
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered.
Sustained.
Who else knew the PIN number to your mother's debit card?
Rosalind and me, that's all.
Is it possible that somehow Tyler figured out the PIN number to the debit card?
She could
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation.
Overruled. You may answer.
She could have figured it out. She also knew where my mother's debit card was located, but I don't think she would take or use the card without permission.
Okay, now let's focus on your housekeeper, Rosaline. Who had more access to the debit card, you or Rosaline?
Rosalind, she used it all the time. I don't know why Tyler's getting blamed for this fact.
Did Rosaline use the debit card when your mother was in the hospital and rehab center?
Yes.
Now, did Rosaline use the debit card when your mother came out of the hospital and rehab center?
No, she meant to go to Eden.
Did Detective Willingham show you a picture of a person wearing a hoodie and at an ATM machine?
Yes.
Did you recognize the person in the photo?
No, the image was not clear face.
Is there a possibility that Rosaline dressed in a hoodie sweatshirt and looked like Tyler and took the money before leaving to England?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation and leading question. Counsel is making a conclusion about the guilt of the defendant and feeding words to the witness.
Sustained.
Did Tyler ever get that guitar?
Yes, she told me she bought it with money she earned over the summer.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay. Out-of-court statement used to prove the truth of the matter asserted.
Sustained again.
Did you ever see Tyler with a new guitar?
Yes.
Did Tyler have a summer job?
I'm not sure. She was with me a lot, but not all of the time.
You know you're testifying against your own mother, correct?
Yes, I know, but I also know Tyler would not take the money or use it without, or withdraw the money.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. State, do you have a cross?
Yes, Your Honor. May I approach the podium?
Yes, you may.
Miss Ross, isn't it true that Tyler Banks is your best friend?
Yes.
And you're here testifying on Tyler's behalf instead of your mother, your own flesh and blood?
Yes.
Why?
Because I know Tyler wouldn't do that, and I don't want her to be wrongfully accused.
You testified that you and your housekeeper Rosaline had access to your mother's debit card, correct?
Yes.
And the PIN number, correct?
Yes.
You also testified that Tyler knew the PIN number to the debit card, correct?
Yes, she used it a long time ago, but she forgot it.
And isn't it true you let Tyler use the card to buy groceries before?
Yes, once.
Tyler was at your house a lot during your mother's stay at the hospital, correct?
Yes.
And Tyler knew where your mom's debit card was located, right?
Yes.
So isn't it possible Tyler could have taken the card without you knowing and withdrew the money?
No, she wouldn't do that.
Did Tyler like to wear hoodie sweatshirts?
Yes.
In fact, she wore them all the time, correct?
Yes, she liked them a lot.
Motion to approach the witness, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
I am now going to show you what has been marked for identification purposes and introduce to the state as witnesses Exhibit A. Tell the court what you see in this picture.
A person at the ATM machine.
And what is this person wearing?
A hoodie sweatshirt.
Is this hoodie sweatshirt the same type as Tyler wears?
Yes.
Objection. Calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Ms. Ross, you asked your mom for money so Tyler can buy a new electric guitar, correct?
Yes.
And Tyler was mad at your mom for saying no, correct?
She was upset.
And isn't it true that Tyler threatened to get the money for the guitar one way or another?
She said that, but it wasn't really a threat to my mother.
Did Tyler get her new guitar?
Yes.
And how much did she pay for it?
About $3,000.
And you testified that Tyler was working for that money, correct?
Yes.
But you also mentioned that you never saw her at work, correct?
Yes, but she wasn't always with me.
Tyler spent a lot of your time, a lot of time at your house, right?
Yes, she helped me when my mom was hospitalized.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. You may be seated. Any redirect? You may be seated. Thank you for your time. Defense, any other witnesses?
Your Honor, I call Bailey Cohen to the stand.
Mr. Bailey Cohen.
May I approach the podium, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. Mr. Cohen, good to see you.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name for the record.
Bailey Cohen,
What is your address?
3 Virginia Road, Palmville, Florida.
Mr. Cohen, how long have you lived in Palmville, Florida?
All my life, my kids grew up here and retired from a local bread factory.
Are you familiar with the local kids in the neighborhood?
Yes, most of them.
Are you familiar with a girl named Tyler Banks?
Well, yes, I know her and her family.
Have you ever asked Tyler to help you with chores around the house?
Yes,
Why?
because I'm getting old and I have back and knee problems.
How long have you used Tyler's help for?
For about 4 years now.
Would you say Tyler is a good kid?
Yes. In fact, she's one of the nicer kids in the neighborhood. Even if she isn't working for me, she will talk to me.
What would you two normally talk about?
Usual stuff like family, the school, and her music career.
Did Tyler Banks ever ask you for more bigger jobs around the house?
Yes. She in May of 2017, she asked to work for me during the summer. She probably want to buy a car.
Do you mean guitar?
Objection, leading question. Counsel is placing words into the witness's mouth.
Sustained.
Mr. Cohen, Tyler wanted the job to earn extra money, correct?
Objection, leading question, and asked and answered. Counsel is placing words into the witness's mouth.
Sustained.
I have hearing problems since I've been working on heavy machinery all my life.
Over the summer,
Counsel, speak up because he has a hearing problem.
over the summer, did you eventually call Mrs. Banks to help you?
Yes. I asked her for trimming the trees, planting flowers, and cleaning the porch.
Is it possible that other neighbors were paying Tyler more money to work for them?
Objection, calls for speculation. Witness has no personal knowledge on why Miss Banks left him for somebody else.
Overruled. Counsel, please repeat the question.
Is it possible the other neighbors were paying Tyler more money to work for them?
Yes, but she still worked for me by the end of July.
Objection, hearsay, out of court statement used to assert the truth of the matter.
That's overruled.
Did Tyler ever mention to you anything about her friend Casey's mother, Dakota Ross?
Yes, Tyler seemed to dislike Casey's mother since she said she was self-centered and never gave Casey money.
Objection, hearsay, out of court statement used to assert the truth of the matter.
Overruled. You may answer.
I will often see Dakota driving her foreign car like she owned the neighborhood.
Objection, relevance?
Sustained.
What did you think when you found out that Tyler was arrested for stealing money?
I was stunned because I think she's a hard worker and a nice kid, and I would never expect her from being desperate for money.
Were you ever approached by a detective, Reese William?
Yes, and he asked me as if she was a thief, and never asked me anything on how about the money she gains in the work.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. State, cross.
Permission to approach the podium?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Cohen, you testified that Tyler Banks was a good kid, correct?
Yes, I like to.
And how well do you know Tyler Banks?
Objection, ambiguous question.
Sustained.
How often did you see Tyler Banks to make that opinion that she is a good kid?
She works for me during the summer.
Did she work for you during the summer of 2017?
Yes,
And how much did you pay her per job on average?
about $20 to $30.
And you testified that Tyler was working for you and asked you for extra jobs to make more money, correct?
Yes.
Can you recall what she wanted the money for?
I don't know, but she wanted the money for something expensive for herself.
Could it have been for a new guitar?
Yes, since we talk a lot about music.
You also testified that she disappeared for a while and didn't show up to help, correct?
Yes.
Did you know where she went?
No.
In your opinion, did Tyler earn a lot of money working for you over the summer?
Objection, cause for speculation.
Overruled. You may answer the question.
Someone, not a lot.
Did Tyler ever get you that guitar?
Yes.
Isn't it true you spoke to Tyler about Casey's mom, Dakota Ross?
Yes.
Isn't it true that Tyler mentioned that she didn't like Dakota Ross?
Yes, she mentioned that she was self-centered and never gave money to her.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Sir, thank you for your time. Defense, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, we call Tyler Banks to the stand.
Ms. Banks.
Permission to approach the podium.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear.
Ms. Banks, you realize that you are testifying and you are waiving your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Have you entered into this voluntarily?
Yes.
Does anyone coerce you into this?
No.
You understand the terms what you're doing, correct?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Tyler Banks.
Where do you live?
I live in 26 Virginia Road, Palmville, Florida.
How old are you?
I am 18 years old.
Are you currently attending school?
Yes, I am a senior in high school.
Tell me about Casey Ross.
Casey Ross is my best friend. We are like siblings and we do everything together.
Did Casey's mother ever give you her debit card to use?
No, but once Casey let me use a debit card so I could buy some groceries for myself.
Did Casey ever give you the PIN number to the card?
Yes, but I forgot it. I have way too many numbers memorized in my head, like phone numbers and other stuff.
Tell me about your music career.
I have always been passionate about music. I've been studying the guitar for since I was 11 years old. I have currently a band called Friday Night Lights. I have an acoustic guitar and an old electric one.
You are being accused of stealing money in order to buy yourself a new electric guitar. Tell me about this guitar.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
Your Honor, the guitar has been suggested as the motive behind the missing money. It is imperative we learn about its coming.
Overruled. Ma'am, you may answer that question.
I saw a Fender Stratocaster, a limited edition guitar at a local music store, and I went inside to play it and I absolutely loved it. So I decided to make a plan to earn $3,000 over the summer.
What did you decide to do to raise this money?
I went around the neighborhood asking neighbors if there's any work to be done around their homes.
Did you find any work?
Yes, Mr. Cohen let me work in his house by pulling weeds, cutting yard, and other various chores.
When was this?
This was in the summer of 2017, around June.
Did Casey ever know about your plans to earn money?
Yes, she was actually very bummed that we couldn't spend the summer together.
Did you ever mention to Casey about getting money from her mother to buy the electric guitar?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading question.
Overruled. Ma'am, you may answer that question.
Yes, I jokingly asked Casey if she could ask her mother to loan me $3,000 for I could buy the electric guitar, but obviously I knew that Dakota Ross would never loan me that money since she is selfish enough to only use that money on herself.
Tell me about those summer jobs. On an average, how much money were you making?
I was making $20 to $30 per job, but I had to stop when Dakota had her accident.
Who watched over Casey when Dakota was in the hospital?
Her housekeeper, Rosalind, but she let us do whatever we want.
What does that mean?
We went out every night, and Casey bought me my food, my clothes, and we got matching hoodies.
Where did all this money come from to purchase all of these things?
I don't know. I never asked her. I just assumed her mother left her some money.
Did you ever see Casey use the debit card?
Objection, Your Honor. Ambiguous question. Unable to formulate a proper response. Need data specifics.
Sustained.
I will rephrase, Your Honor. Did you see Casey use her mother's debit card during the period of June 2017 through August 2017?
No, but I know that Rosalind had access to it.
Did you ever purchase that guitar?
Yes. I finally earned enough money to earn the guitar.
Were you ever interviewed by Detective Reese Willingham?
Yes, I was interviewed by Detective Reese Willingham, and we talked about the PIN number and the ATM machine. I told them that I do not remember the PIN number, and I do not recognize anybody from the ATM machine.
Last question, Ms. Banks. Did you take Mrs. Ross' debit card and withdrew the money for your benefit?
Never. I would never steal from Casey, even if I didn't like her mother.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. State Cross.
Your Honor, permission to approach the podium.
Yes, sir.
Miss Banks, isn't it true that you spend a lot of time at the Ross residence?
Yes, Casey's my best friend.
And isn't it true that when Dakota Ross got injured, you spent more time at their house to take care of Casey?
Yes, to support Casey.
You testified that Casey once gave you her mother's debit card to use, isn't that true?
Yes, once.
And the PIN number to that card, correct?
Yes, but I forgot it.
So you did use Dakota Ross's debit card without authorization from Dakota Ross herself, correct?
Objection. Asked and answered.
Sustained.
You testified that you asked Casey to ask Dakota Ross for some money to buy a new electric guitar, correct?
Yes.
When Dakota said no, that made you mad, huh?
Objection. Argumentative. Harassing the witness.
Sustained again.
Isn't it true you told Dakota that you would find another way to get the money?
Yes, but I said that jokingly.
Miss Banks, you bought that electric guitar, didn't you?
Yes.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid $3,180.
So you paid for that guitar with the money you made from work, correct?
Yes.
On average, how much did you earn per job over the summer?
Anywhere around $20 to $30.
And isn't it true you stopped working for a while to take care of Casey?
Yes, briefly.
So isn't it safe to assume you worked at least 60 days over the summer, that's all of June and all of July, until August, giving you credit for the days you stayed with Casey?
Yes.
If I take 60 days and multiply it by $30 per day, that comes out at $1,800 earned over the summer. That's way short of your $3,180 purchase. Where did the extra money come from?
I had more money not only from the summer jobs.
Okay, but you testified that you worked all summer to earn enough money to buy the guitar. You didn't say that you had money to begin with. Are you telling us the truth, Mrs. Banks?
Objection. Argumentative. Badgering the witness.
Sustained.
Mrs. Banks, you testified that you were always wearing a hoodie, correct?
Yes, I wear it a lot.
In fact, didn't you testify that quote-unquote hoodie is your signature?
Yes.
Were you wearing it when you illegally withdrew money from Farmville ATM machine?
Objection. Cause for a legal conclusion. Counsel is making a determination which is meant for the jury.
Sustained.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Ms. Banks, you may be seated. Thank you for your time. Defense, any further witnesses?
No.
Do you rest?
Yes.
Defense, do you rest?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. Closing. State, you're closing.
Your Honor, permission to approach the jury.
Yes, sir.
Hello. I want to thank you all for your time and patience in this trial. As citizens in our great city of Palmville, you have the power to deliver justice. This is a responsibility you have not only as jurors, but as human beings. Throughout our lives, the Ten Commandments have taught us that thou shalt not steal. Whether you're religious or not, this scripture is the foundation of our society and the American legal system. And these sacred laws apply to everyone. But that is not the belief of the defendant, Tyler Banks. The evidence presented today was clear. It is a simple story of greed and jealousy. It is a simple story of taking what you want without thinking of the repercussions of your actions. It begins with Dakota Ross, a resident of Palmville, Florida, a single mother with one child named Casey Ross. The best friend would spend countless hours together, especially at the Ross house. The defendant, a family friend, asked Casey Ross to ask her mother, Dakota Ross, for $3,000 to buy an electric guitar after she sees her mother's wealth. Dakota Ross obviously says no, and Tyler becomes enraged, stating, "Fine, I'll find another way to get the money." 1 month later, the victim, Dakota Ross, accidentally falls down her stairs at home and ends up hospitalized at a rehabilitation center for 5 weeks. She leaves her purse and debit card inside the purse for her housekeeper and daughter to buy necessities while hospitalized. The perfect opportunity for Tyler Banks to steal the debit card from Dakota Ross's purse and withdraw money all over town. The evidence proved that Tyler Banks wanted an electric guitar and eventually purchased one at a price of $3,180. Cheap? I say not. Now you heard sworn testimony that Tyler worked for 60 days over the summer, even though she stated that she took a break over the summer to help Casey while her mother was hospitalized. And you also heard that she earned $30 per day. Now let's say we believe her testimony and she worked 60 days at a rate of $30 per day. 60 times $30 per day, that would only be $1,800. Way shorter of her $3,180 purchase, don't you think? Thank you. And I hope that you consider this wisely and please serve justice.
Thank you, State. Defense, closing.
Your Honor, permission to approach the jury.
Yes, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, beyond a reasonable doubt is a standard that prosecution must prove their case. They must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Tyler Banks did indeed take Dakota Ross's card and, without authorization, withdrew the money. Now, the question I ask upon this jury is, where is the proof that Tyler Banks is that person who took the card and withdrew the money? A photo of someone at an ATM without a face? A photo of someone wearing a hoodie? A family friend who could have figured out the PIN number? As you may have heard, the victim, Dakota Ross, and her daughter Casey Ross testified that their housekeeper, Rosalind, had access to the card, frequently used it, and knew the PIN number. And then, upon Dakota Ross's return from the rehab center, she mysteriously relocates to England. There's a saying that goes, the ones we trust most often betray us. Is there a possibility that Rosalind did take Dakota Ross's credit card and withdrew the money? Yes. There is no substantial evidence attaching the defendant, Tyler Banks, to this crime. Circumstantial evidence at best, but not substantial. Last I heard, in today's world, pointing fingers does not lead to guilt. Tyler Banks has never done anything, nor will he do anything, to hurt the Ross family. She shares a strong bond with the victim's daughter, Casey Ross, and will do anything for her, and that includes coming to her side in a time of need. I ask that you all find Tyler Banks innocent and acquit her of all charges. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Any rebuttal?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Well, that concludes our case today. The jury will now go back into the jury room and deliberate. I appreciate your effort, and everything was fantastic. And we will hear back from the jury soon. Thank you.
All rise.